Hello and welcome to another SOULution Sunday, because the soul is the SOULution. I am here today with our very good friend, Keith Leon S. Keith and I met during one of his book projects. He's the creator of Navigating the Clickety-Clack, How to Live a Peace-Filled Life in a Seemingly Toxic World. I met Keith as one of his authors in volume 2, and kind of the rest is history. he has been a guide, a mentor, my regular guest on SOULution Sunday, and we have lots more projects in the works that you're going to be super excited about when it's time for us to announce those. So Keith, welcome to another SOULution Sunday.
Thanks for having me. Happy Sunday. Happy SOULution Sunday.
So you have a saying that says, as we believe, so it is, or something along those lines. What is the saying, and why do you say
that? I have a whole lot of them that say that a different way. And the reason that I say that is when I was young, I was forced to go to church by my mom, and they were LDS, Latter-day Saint, Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, Mormon, whatever you want to call it. And they have the Book of Mormon, but they also have the Bible. And so as I was forced to go and listen to the preaching, and I sifted through all the dogma, right, and the fear and the guilt and all of that, and the message that I was hearing that actually rang true, the part that really rang true, was when their master teacher Jesus was speaking, and I heard the same message coming through, other than, of course, unconditional love. Everyone knows that's what Yeshua, there was no J sound back then. There was no J. The Yeshua was sharing was, besides unconditional love, was, it happens as you believe it's done unto you. Pray believing that you have and you receive. If you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move a mountain. He was just saying the same thing over and over again. I and the Father are one. He said it so many different ways, and I just had noticed that he was speaking the word and saying things, and then they were coming true. And that even when he spoke the word over a person, and the blind man saw and the deaf woman heard, and they said, "Thank you for healing me," he said, "I didn't heal you. It was your faith in me that healed you." So it happens as you believe was like the underlying theme that I heard over and over again. And I was a poor kid growing up, and I didn't, my mom barely got out of bed. When I saw the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I could relate to that kid. I had, almost rock soup for dinner so many times, and my mom didn't get out of bed, and there was so many parallels for me in that movie. And by the end, when he essentially had won the chocolate factory and was in the elevator, and Willy Wonka said, "Did you hear about the poor kid who, went to something, like went to the chocolate factory, all his dreams came true." And in that moment, something flicked, like a switch just flipped on. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I just started wishing things, like his wishes came true. Well, it happens as you believe. Okay, so I just started wishing for things, and then they all started coming true. And I was, whoa, right? I was blown away by this. And it's been a theme that I took with me from there on into my life. And just really, when I heard the teachings of this guy Yeshua and all the other masters, teachers, and other, because I did explored other religions, they were kind of all saying the same thing too. And so I had just decided that I wanted to prove that the things that they said were true. I wanted to live to prove that what they said was true, and be a walking, talking manifestation of the teachings that they taught. And so that's really what I got out of the main thing I got out of my forced religion uh, upbringing. And as soon as I could leave the structured part of that, then I left. But I took the teachings that I felt were the most important and pertinent to me with me, and that's what I've been all about, ever since. And taught so many other people, and that our words create. Everything that we say comes true, but only every time. So we really got to be careful what we say, and that everything that we allow to come into our mind, be that TV, radio, conversations to come in, affects our beliefs and what we say. So it's been something I've been really keenly focused on. That and being unconditional love is always my goal. And anybody that knows me, that's what that's where I live. Creation, right? Create with my words, teach that, and love as well as I can to be in unconditional love for myself and others at all times. That's it. That's me.
Awesome. We have Carol says, I didn't understand structured religion. I'm with you, Carol. For my experience, like I was made to go to church as well. But when I was 2 years old and 3 years old, I would go to bed at night and I would just find myself floating kind of in space, this space of unconditional love and light. And in this space, that's all there was. Like there was no judgment, no hatred, no rules, no guy in the sky keeping score. And I knew that that was the eternal, everlasting isness. Like that's what's actually real. And that everything else is just an experience from that space. So when I was made to go to church, I was like, this is not it's not what it is, folks. It was clear to me. And I felt really, I felt like I was like kind of compromising myself, like allowing myself to go through these steps, and just like pretending to believe what everybody else believed. It was sort of like I was a little ashamed of myself. And I remember like in fourth grade or something, like we had like Sunday school kind of thing, but like you would go and you would like go through this little class or whatever, then you'd get your Bible at the end. And I remember just standing in front of the church and, everybody was like so excited about, I received my Bible. And I was just like, oh. I just remember this is not in alignment at all for me. Like this whole little charade.
Yeah.
So I hear you, Carol, about that. And we have Lori says, manifestation, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So I love your story, Keith, that I don't know if the rest of the audience knows this part of your story. I think you've probably shared it before, but that when you were younger, you decided that, in your 20s and 30s, you wanted to be a rock star. And then in your 40s, you wanted to be a best-selling author, and then in your 50s, a film director. And all of those things, like you actually manifest all of those things. Those things became your living experience. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I remember the exact day in ninth grade that I said that was the plan. Right? That was the plan. Just watching a baseball game after school, sitting with this girl, and I was just like, this is what I'm gonna do. Right? I just laid out the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and just like make it happen, right? Another part of my story is that time that I spent with literally with an earthbound angel. Spent well over a year, and he would say, like, anything that came out of my mouth, especially if it wasn't positive, he would say, how do you want it to be? What do you want them to say? How do you want it to go? Right? Any place where I wasn't completely standing in my power and taking 100% full responsibility for what I was saying or what was coming out of my mouth, he would just say, how do you want it to be? How do you want it to go? And oh man, it was powerful, powerful teaching. Right? And so yeah, 20s and 30s, I'm going to be a rock star. Was in a band, and we ended up getting a recording contract and a tour to Japan. And in the 11th hour, the main songwriter, who had written almost all of the songs, bailed out, and he said, "Oh, I can't go to Japan. I'm gonna be a pharmacist. My family always wanted to be a pharmacist. I didn't think this was really gonna happen, So he had just been leading everybody on. He wanted to make it, but he was gonna be a pharmacist, and so he just said no to that tour to Japan. And since the music was his, we couldn't exactly just move on forward without him. So that kind of blew up, and I really got caught up in the drama of that, and not, like, these days I would say, oh cool, so what am I learn from this? How can I move forward? I was just like,
Right.
why this idiot, right? I got into the story, and the funny thing is, flash forward a year or so, I saw him working at Ralph's grocery store in the produce department, and I was like, what happened to the pharmacy thing? And he was like, oh, I got my, I graduated, and then I started being a pharmacist, and I just decided I hated it. And so now he's working in the produce department at Ralph's. I
Oh
was just
my
like,
gosh.
wow, okay. Uh,
Ugh.
so ultimately, I did end up, playing music, and then I got involved with the Agape Spiritual Center, and through there, I got to sing with Stevie Wonder and Ben Vereen, and even as a speaker, when I moved into that as a speaker, I ended up getting to sing with Gloria Loring, and like still creating the music, even when it moved into the next phase. Um, so yeah, rock star. I played like all those clubs on the strip that you see in the movies, right? The Whiskey A Go Go and the El Rey, and all those clubs. Uh, I played all of those, and the cool thing about those is when you finally get there and you're sitting in the green room, a lot of times the managers or the owners or the guy who books will come in and tell you all the other people who were in that green room before. And if you're like me and you feel energy, then you go, oh, that explains a lot. Right? So it's like feeling the energy of that. So yeah, 20s and 30s, did play a lot of music, this close to making it big. But I know now that with my past tendency toward drug addiction, that I probably would have just died. So that's why that didn't happen. Hindsight being 2020, I wouldn't have made it
Right.
through that. Having all that money, forget about it. It would have been a goner. So that's why that didn't happen. And then, but I did get to play with legends, and there's a theater called the Greek Theater that I saw everybody I ever wanted to see at that theater, and memorized parts on the stage where they played certain things and did certain things, because I was like, one day I'll be on that stage. And I did get to sing at the Greek Theater, and had that backstage pass. And during sound check, when everybody was kind of coming on stage, I was like, give me a minute. And I went around and I stood where Alanis Morissette sat on a bench, on a chair, and sang "Isn't It Ironic?" And I went over and stood in the spot I had memorized where Carlos Santana played "Boop Boop Boo Boop Boop Boo Black Magic Woman," right? And just went to all the spots and stood there, and could feel the energy of that moment, and their energy, swirling around in me. So kind of fun stories from that journey. But it was like creation, right? Someday I'm going to be on that stage. Let me memorize the spots. I mean, pure intention, right? So the universe is like, okay, it took me a long time to figure this out, but here you are, you're on the stage. Go stand in those spots. Thank you. And whether you believe that the universe, is out there or it was just me creating all of that, we're saying the same thing, uh, and so yeah, and then 50s, it was like, oh, wait, I'm not making film. I'm in my 50s. I had that realization because someone pointed it out to me. And then I was like, oh, time to make a film. So I stepped into that. And that's what I'm in right now. Um, shot, directed all this footage for a new film called The Inside Effects, How the Body Heals Itself, featuring Lisa Warner, Karen Can, Deanna and Courtney, some of my friends, and then a whole bunch of other people that are some of them really well known. So I'm into that now, and so it's my whole life has been about proving what these master teachers that everybody worships and I listen to, right? Because I just never felt it never felt right to worship anybody because then that goes against the very teaching that I love to live in, right? If I give the power to them, then what happens as they believe, not as happens as I believe. So yeah. Um, there was one other thing that came up that I'm sure will pop up.
And you did the best-selling author thing in your 40s, so like
Yeah,
it all
yeah,
went
yeah. It
exactly
was
as
best
you
selling.
believed that it would, that
It
you
was best.
created that.
Right. It was best selling author, speaker, smoking hot wife.
There you go.
that was the that was the 40s, and sure enough, manifested all that, and have spoke on some of the larger stages with a whole bunch of really incredible, well-known speakers, and a lot of them became my mentors, and that's funny because that's one I didn't put word on mentors, but that definitely happened. Like when I share people, like not mentors, like I paid for their coaching or something. I mean, mentors, like I will help you, I will support you. Here's my number. Call me when you need to have a meeting, mentor, right? And then
Right?
just,
Like an angel coming from heaven to be embodied to guide you, like
yeah,
Clarence. And now is going to be the time where we see, what's it called? It's a Wonderful Life.
yeah,
We see that story with Jimmy Stewart struggling, and then
yeah,
Clarence the angel shows up, and
yeah.
it's a very similar story to your
I
story.
know it's if I when I pitched the movie, right? when I pitched when I pitched to do my life story movie, it's gonna be, and this is so true, it's gonna be It's a Wonderful Life meets Way of the Peaceful Warrior meets Forrest Gump. Because that's my life. That is my life. All right. I have a very, very Forrest Gumpian life. And then it always happens as I believe, right? And so because that's true and the words I speak manifest, but only every time, then I do my best to be really selective with the words that I'm saying and the thoughts I'm thinking and the things that I'm watching. And even if I choose to watch something I know is going to have predictive programming, everything these days now has predictive programming in it. So even if I know I'm watching something like that, then as soon as I see it, I erase it, right? Because I know I can do that. So I
Yeah.
still watch a movie, but it's like it jumps out, right? It jumps out at me now, and it's more than ever embedded, which is wild in there.
Yeah,
So
it's really easy to see the deceptions and the programming when we're aware
right,
of it.
and
Yeah.
it's wild. Even a movie like there's a brand new Christmas movie that I watched like part of last night, and then I just got tired and went to sleep. But in the first half an hour, there were two predictive programming pieces in it. But it's a film. It's like another remake of the Ghost of Christmas Past, Scrooged or whatever. So the underlying, not even underlying, the big theme is supposed to be change your life, right? And you can, to be happy and to be positive, and right, they take someone who's just mad at the world and all that and turn them into to somebody who's now grateful to be alive and all of that. So it's like, I know that the theme is super positive theme, but there's so many movies like that where it's like, this movie is like about dreams and dreams coming true, and then in that movie they're still throwing in little pieces that are the opposite of that, to because when you, if you have one theme but you toss in 10 negative, right, negative programmings, which one wins out?
Exactly.
Like there's the happy ending at the end where that's the one you're left with and you feel good and you're like, oh, that was such a great movie, that it makes you forget the 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, however many negative things they stuck in there. So it's like, it's so wild when you're really walking in the awareness of what we're talking about today. Then what you focus on really expands or jumps out at you, right? And so you can really start to notice the the negative programming and the predictive programming. It's pretty wild.
Exactly. Speaking of Karen Cam, we've got Karen joining us
Karen.
this morning. Hey, Karen, thanks for hopping on.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Lori saying we need to be impeccable with our words, part of the 4 agreements. Absolutely. You got it.
Yes.
Our words
Yes.
matter. Literally, they turn into matter. All of the molecules in the universe are listening to us.
Mm.
Everything is energy, and all energy is here to serve us. And how it serves us is we ask and they respond. So we're always asking, whether we're conscious of it or not. So, my direct experience with the, and so it is, as you believe, you live it out, was when I believed, when I saw the changes in my body and the lumps and the bumps and, all the scary stuff that was going on in my body, this cancer thing, I was living in absolute fear. Like, oh my gosh, I'm being attacked by this killer disease. This is horrible. But then when I was able to finally get my mind quiet and ask what's actually going on here, and to receive some actual guidance from source directly so that I could really see what was going on, it was like, oh, wait a second. My body's actually trying to help me. And as soon as I was able to flip it around in my mind and like to see clearly, it was like, oh, this is not the great big deal that it's been made out to be. Like, this is completely natural biological process. And as soon as I trust my body heals itself. And this is the way it actually is. So like my experience going from one set of beliefs, like, oh my God, I'm being attacked by a killer disease, to seeing, oh my God, my body is designed to heal itself. My body is helping me. 2 diametrically opposite belief systems, but one of them is actually true and the other one's not.
Mm-hmm. That's how do you want it to be? Right.
Exactly. But when we see the direct correlation between our beliefs and our health, like it becomes completely obvious that our bodies are mirroring our beliefs. And if we're living in peace and well-being and happiness, health is pretty much the only option. I mean, health happens when we're in alignment and balance and living as who we truly are. When we're living in fear and doubt and guilt and depression and anger, and our molecules respond to that.
Absolutely. That's the truth. And I remembered what the thing was I wanted to share. I knew it would come back. Was you were talking about Man in the Sky when we were talking about religion, right?
Mm.
And I remember my angel, who's the angel in the flesh, by the way, right? An etheric angel who's in a body. When I talked about and what of God, like writing down everything and judging us for a day to come, and he said, "Oh, making a list and checking it twice." He said, "That's Santa Claus. It's not
Exactly.
God." And I
Yep.
fell out. I fell out. I was like, wow, literally an angel just said that. That's Santa Claus. That's not God. No, God loves you no matter what. Right. And it's like you chose to come here, you know exactly the day that you came and the day that you're gonna leave, right? And what you're here to do. And you knew all that and you only forgot just to make it more interesting. And it's like, wow, okay, cool. Uh, and so one thing I've noticed, right? I've really noticed since we've been hanging out, uh, is that I tend to attract and manifest people who do the same, right?
Mhm.
So Karen teaches people how to manifest, right? Literally commanding the universe, right? I now command that, boom, and then it happens, right? So it's just again proving that it works, and then you too are constantly just sitting down with a question, breathing into it, sit, ask, and listening till you receive the answer, and then the answers that you receive are just like boom, it's like so incredible and so awesome. So the one that really has stuck out for me that I would love for you to share was when you got a letter, that said, "Hey, the house that you're living in, that you've been living in for all these years, we're going to sell it." And usually that means, "Oh crap, I'm getting kicked out." Right? Like they're going to sell it and they're going to kick me out of here. And especially there in Lake Placid, I know in that area, everybody's been buying houses and turning them into Airbnbs. So clearly, they're not going to let you have your place at a low monthly rent if they can get, yeah, $600 a night. That's just bad math. So, so I remember when you got that letter and went into a fear storm about it. And so, can you pick up there and then share what happened?
Oh, yeah, it was a shock, to receive a text saying, "Oh, by the way, the realtor's going to be there next week. I'm going to sell." Like, what? Like, oh my God. And I realized that after a little while, after kind of I had time to breathe and react and respond and gather my wits, I realized that I can go down this road of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is terrible. Or I can actually generate a different outcome. So I chose the outcome that I wanted. And I remember the night I was laying in my bed and I asked myself, what do I really want to have happen here? Like, so I really felt into it because I had the option, like, well, I can try to go find a different place. This isn't my dream home living here, but this works and it's a great spot right now. And so I thought, what do I actually want? So I just got really clear. And what I really truly wanted was I wanted to stay right where I am. And I wanted people to come, and I didn't want to purchase the place. I wanted people to come and purchase the place who are going to love the place, who are going to show the place honor and respect the property, who are going to respect me and honor my wishes as well, treat me with dignity and kindness. So I closed my eyes and I chose. And I said, universe, this is what I want. I want to stay here. I love this house. So I tuned in and I started loving the house. I started tuning into the property. I love this. I claim this as my space. I choose this and I choose to create peace, kindness, caring, community. And what happened was absolutely beyond my wildest expectations. The people that bought the place let me stay here. They did all kinds of upgrades to the place. They didn't raise my rent. They added garbage pickup. They now they snow blow my steps and my sidewalk and the pathway around. Just they're the quietest, nicest downstairs neighbors ever. And it's just far beyond my wildest dreams. And it's completely clear that it was because I set the energy and I was really clear about what I wanted. So I created energetically the blueprint for what I desired. And then the universe just rearranged all the molecules to match my expectation.
Yeah, I love that. And it was such a beautiful thing to witness in real time, from the freak out, right?
Yeah, right.
It was like, "Ah!" And in my head, I'm like, how do you want it to be? Right. And then you just came to that so fast and then just sat in it and started coming in and claiming and putting words on what you wanted. And then just to watch it all manifest,
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Like,
that.
like the real key behind it was like the feeling.
Right.
It was like setting that energetic blueprint, because everything is energy.
Yeah.
And if we're just scattering our energy in all directions, the universe doesn't know what to do with that. But when we make the energy really clear, and here's what I want, here's the blueprint, match the blueprint, it just happens. It's really easy.
Yeah. One of my mentors, Fletch, he's the one that came up with the phrase clickety clack, right? Navigating the clickety clack. He maintained that there was visualization, which is sitting down and visualizing what you want. But then he said, but the part to ramp it up, to make it happen even faster, is what he called feelingization. And let's get into the feeling of what it'll feel like. So if you want to be in that house, yes, see the house, but feel what it feels like to be in the house. And that ramps up the speed of manifestation. And so that's why within we're in dream weaving together, right? And that's why I love to come in and share these things and get people in groups, all with focus and intention on each other's dreams and in each other's things that they want to manifest. And like how fast it happens when you're within the group setting is mind-blowing. I don't think it's usually happen fast for me, but not always so much with other people. But there's something about that coming together and everybody's claiming, and so it is to whatever you bring, that just speeding the manifestation up. And it's like we're all feeling the feeling of creation together. So it's like a ramped up form of feelingization. Right.
Right. Yeah, we've got many of our dream weavers friends here today. We've got Leanne is here today. Karen is part of our team. She's a dream weaver. We have beautiful, it's such an incredible, beautiful community of people.
Yeah.
Lori, come dream weave with us.
Yes.
I'll send you a message.
Like-minded manifestors.
Right.
On the path. Like proving everything that we're saying right now is just proved over and over, but only every day in front of our face. So you can't deny it when you see it every day.
Exactly.
It's like the mainstream media has proven that, the only thing that they've proven is that if you say something enough times, people will believe it. But that's true about our subconscious mind as well, right? So if we're telling ourselves positive things and being around positive people and hearing positive messages all the time, then sooner or later the subconscious mind has to catch up. And it really is in the human body what runs the show. So, how can we change that stinking thinking to, because Leanne's here, I had to throw that out. I forgot I even said it. It's one of her favorite things I said one time. But when we change that stinking thinking from within, meaning subconscious mind, then now we start to live in a space where then everything that is coming out of our mouth is positive. And we're no longer having to think about it to be positive.
Exactly.
It's like at the beginning, it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of erase, erase, erase. Oh boy. Can't believe I even said that, right? Wow, I never really noticed that 9 out of 10 things that come out of my mouth are negative, right? So it's like, we put a focus, awareness on shifting that, and then when you switch the two and it becomes 90% positive, uh, then subconscious mind starts to really get on board with that. And once you've got, so once you've got that on, like, shifted, then what's coming out of your mouth all the time is positive and what you want, not what you don't want, right? And creation, and then the spirit, God, universe can really get to work. Or the law, some people call it the law, and that, I love when it's called the law, a law of attraction, law of creation. There are many laws of the universe. So if somebody says the law, I love the teaching with that is the law only knows okay and does. So it's like the law responds to, we say a word and the law goes okay, and it creates it. It's like that's all it knows. The law doesn't disseminate or think, should I do this or should I not? Do they deserve it? Like it just goes okay. And so it is what I turned that into, that teaching. And so it is. So if the law always says and so it is, that means if we say, I'm fat, the law goes and so it is. I'm ugly and so it is. Then that's embedded, right? I love my life and so it is, right? I want to create this and so it is. And so it is. Everything we're saying and so it is. So best that the things that come out of our mouth are for our highest good, something that is going to support us instead of break us down, right?
Exactly, right? So we all want to live in heaven on earth. We're all tired of living in dishevelment and war and disease and poverty. Like, we don't want that anymore. Like, I don't think we ever wanted it to begin with, but it's like, in order for us to actually create that, we have to really start focusing on that and stop allowing any of the other things. So this is one of the beautiful things about the dream weaving community, living by this structure of the 4 agreements and the 9 alignments. Like, this is how we actually act with dignity and honor and respect and help each other hold that high vibration. And we're really creating that blueprint for a whole new way of being on the planet. It's literally holding the energy, like we were talking about earlier, creating the energetic blueprint, so then all the molecules can rearrange themselves to match the blueprint. So by doing that as groups, we're literally holding that blueprint steady so that all the rest of the universe can start to match that. We've got Holly here, she does that with us. And we have Karen who's saying, I love this story. I'm practicing erasing the word want from my language and replacing it with other words.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
Right. Michelle says, loving listening to you both. You are making my Sunday morning so hopeful and beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for listening, Michelle. Love you. Yes, and you should still be thinking about dream weaving, girl. You should be coming in and dream weaving with us.
That's right. That's right.
Leanne says, changing the world one loom at a time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So I'm super curious, Keith, with for people who have not read your angel book, Walking with My Angels by Keith Leon S. True life story. Did you know that he was an embodied angel, or how did you know that he was actually an angel?
Well, he was a guy in a body, right? But he was what they call a walk-in.
Solution.
called? Yeah. So meaning that there was somebody, a man who had no family, nothing to live for, took his own life, OD'd, and then when that spirit stepped out, he stepped in so that he could go to work and do what he does, which is an earthbound angel who is assigned to certain people to work with them and put them on their path. A lot of times save their life, like he did me. So how I knew was he was the guy, right? He was like this mechanic, and I worked at a blue collar bar, and he came in from day one, but he was very intriguing. He barely said anything, but when he did, everybody was leaning in and listening. Everything he said to me was mysterious, profound, but very little words. And so I was just so intrigued that I was like, "Hey, do you want to hang out after work?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And then we started hanging out after work, and he was asking me a lot of questions, more than he was saying things. He was asking questions, and he basically found out that by that time I was like deep into drugs and had just pretty much forgotten everything that I learned as a kid, as a child, and the ways that I believed were just all had been programmed out of me and forgotten because I was in a haze, a drug infested haze. And so he was like, "Oh God, we got to start from here." Okay, so so initially I had a ring that my stepfather, who I only had for 5 days, he was killed, but he was just the sweetest, kindest, gentlest, lovingest man in the world. So he died, and I got my mom had given me the ring that he wore when they got married. So it only really had his energy. Maybe my mom's from touching it, but certainly it was on his body in it. And so the first thing he did to kind of start to prove something, who he was or what he could do or get me to believe in him, was he took that ring and he put it in. He said, "Can I see the ring?" And "Do you trust me?" He said. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Can I see that ring?" And now that was a big ask because I felt connected to that man through that ring. So to have anybody else's energy, but I was starting to feel close enough, and I did indeed trust him. So I gave it to him. He put it in his hand. He closed his eyes, and he proceeded to tell me everything about my childhood from the moment I was born all the way to my stepfather was killed with that ring on. And he like quaked and he said, "Oh God, I could have went my whole life without seeing that," and handed me the ring back. So I knew where it had ended, his vision and what he saw. And everything that he said was accurate. And there's no Google back then. He didn't Google me to find things out, and he knew everything about my upbringing. And so that I was like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe, I mean, okay, so maybe some psychics are real. He must be a psychic." And so then he started to kind of share some things and predict things, and they would all come true. Like everything, whether it's a world event or my next day, how it was going to go, any of that, all came true 100% of the time. So eventually he just said, "Do you trust me again?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you better sit down because this is a big one." And I sat down, and he proceeded to tell me that he was an earthbound angel, like an angel in the flesh. So etheric angel, he dropped into his body, and real earthbound angels is what he called them. Not, he said, "We call earthbound angels people that do good deeds and things." And that's, I mean, it's sweet and it's lovely, but it's not really what we do. And I'm like, "We do?" Yeah, there's a group of us on earth that are, we are assigned to certain people to work with them, and in different ways. And in this case, take you from believing in nothing to believing in everything, put you on your path, and at some point I'll save your life. And when I do that, then you have to let me go because I have to do it for someone else. So that's the long story, but there's no way to answer that shortly. So it was just him proving, right? Saying and it happening, saying and it happening over and over again, just what we're talking about, right? Everything he would say came true. And ultimately, when he ended up saving my life, it was because of that same exact thing, because everything he said came true. So when he told me something, I knew that it was true, and it made me make a shift and change, and choose to live, right? And so So yeah, that's how he got me to do it, by doing the very thing that we're talking about today. Demonstrating, right? Demonstration. I speak the word, it happens. I speak the word, it happens. I speak the word, it happens. So that got me to believe in him. And then ultimately he taught me to believe in me. Because he would show me these things to prove he was who he said he was. Yeah, I mean, show me things that are out of this world right in front of my face. And I would be like, wow. And he would sit back and look up and go, he, he's impressed by my parlor tricks. Oh, give me strength. Give me strength. Okay. Keith, what? You have more power in your little finger than I have in my whole body. That's what I need to teach you. And that's what I need you to understand. Right? That's what I'm here to get you on board with. Right? That it happens as you believe that you are the creator. Right? You're here to make a difference in this world. And I mean big numbers, Keith, right? Big number, like and that can't happen if you die. So that's why I'm here. Not much to throw on a 22-year-old who doesn't believe anything, but that's okay. That's a whole nother diatribe. Not much pressure either, here to change the world. No biggie.
Right?
I'll get right on that.
And look, you're doing it, and you're doing it with ease and grace, and it's just kind of natural now. Like, we don't really think about it as like, oh, changing the world. I mean, we can be aware of it, but it's like not why I'm sure you do anything. It's like just
Right.
because it flows, it needs to be done. Somebody needs to do it. Like,
Yeah. I know. Like oh, okay, I'm going to do my first film. I'm going to take my friends and feature them, right? And do like I do with all my book projects and everything, put them in a movie with like famous people so that they'll get more clients. Like that was the whole purpose, right? And now that I'm watching it and even working with the editor, he's like, this movie's going to change everything. This is the shift. This is the game changer. This is millions of people are going to be changed by this movie. Like, you get that, right? And I was just like, I do. I really do. Right about now. I get that. So like you said, I didn't say I want to make a movie that's going to shift the energy of the universe and wake people up, who have just even, it's always about a little bit of opening. Any project I do, I'm never like thinking I want to take people from I believe in nothing to now I believe everything. It's just about like, can I produce anything that would help somebody take that first step, that next step? So if they're totally closed to open up this much, they're already open this much to end up this much. And if they're already like here, then who knows what's available there, right? Share your stories with me. It's always about ascension, just to the next step, right? That's my goal, that I get somebody to their next piece of enlightenment, or the next onto the next path, or jump into the next timeline, however you want to look at it. Right?
do you think that we're all angels in human form?
Well, certainly if angel is spirit, then that's true. If angel is soul, then of course. So every one of us has a soul, and that's the piece that comes in and leaves the body. That's why when you look at somebody and the soul has left, you just go, they don't even look like the same person, because they're not. Right? That was just the vessel in the shell. And interesting that when the part that really is us leaves the body, how it literally even can change the shape of the face, right, of the body. And it's not like that much liquid has left the body, since when we see them, it's just that the true essence of the soul, the angel. Yeah. So if we're all angels and we're all soul, then just because we decided to try on this body, this absolutely does not mean that we're disconnected from it. It's the opposite. We're still connected directly to the source from where we came, which is energy, which is soul, which is light, which is whatever you want to call it, right?
Unconditional
God.
love. That's really
Yeah.
love.
Unconditional love. And there's so much there's so much in semantics in this human experience.
Yes.
And like wars have been created over semantics. So it's like in my workshops, I'm like, okay, I'm going to call it God, right? I have no problem with that word. It's just, it's easy, it flows. But God, spirit, universe, Allah, Jehovah, like rock. I don't like, it doesn't care what you call it as long as you call it. So what, as I'm sharing what I'm sharing today, right? Take what you love, throw the rest. I always have a trash can right by the door, right? I say toss it in the trash can on your way out. I have no attachment to being right. But as I'm speaking, insert the word that it is for you every time I say God. And that just instantly takes out that, right? That sting of if you grew up in a dogmatic upbringing and then you left it, the last thing you want to hear is somebody saying God, 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 right? So it's like, I can just change it. Okay, spirit. Oh, spirit, her soul, her angel, or whatever. Every time I say that, you make that shift, then that helps with the whole semantics piece, right? Because it's what it is to you is all that matters. It's your relationship with that thing truly is all that matters. Truly is all that matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like to say that we all have direct access to the mind of God, to universal wisdom.
Yeah.
But when we're shut off from that, when we're programmed out of that, we have no awareness of our connection to all that divine intelligence. And then
Mm,
we try to operate just from what we've been taught in our minds, and we can't access the universal wisdom. We can't access our higher selves and what's actually possible until we start opening up to that.
yeah. So
And
true.
as that 2-year-old, 3-year-old, when I would go to sleep at night and just be part of that unified field of love and light, I would be able to look at the planet and I would see that humanity had amnesia, that nobody was remembering who they actually are.
Mm,
And if everybody remembered who we are, we'd be living in love and joy and harmony and thriving in this beautiful world.
mm,
So I'm
yeah.
super happy that this is the time where we will start to be doing that. So
Yeah.
Michelle says, I love Keith's book. I know Keith Stoppelganger. Saw him, Kevin, saw him, Kevin's cousin, her husband's cousin, who I
Yeah.
saw all weekend for my father-in-law's beautiful funeral ceremony. This is why I
Mm,
feel like I know Keith.
that's cool.
Both goals. Uh,
Yeah.
let's see. Leanne says, thanking the universe for you on the regular, and for Karen for introducing us, talking directly to you, Keith.
Yeah.
And she
I love
asks,
you.
like the car crash,
Mm,
telling your story about the car crash.
yeah. Oh boy. That was quite a thing.
Do you want to share that?
Do we have time? There's so much to that. Whew, driving down the street, no seatbelt on, get got sideswiped. It's like which car crash? I've been in so many. I think it's this one. Got sideswiped. The car flipped. Up on a ceiling, and then the car was kind of spinning down the road. And my girlfriend, I don't think we were married yet. My girlfriend's hanging upside down by the seatbelt, and I had to pop it, and then she dropped, and it really messed her up that she had the seatbelt on. Me was the opposite. When the car flipped, somehow I just went with it, and then when the car ended up on its roof, I ended up sitting Indian like cross-legged on the top of the car, and had lived through that accident, which already was crazy. Just had some blood in my head from glass, and then we got carted off in ambulance, and in the ambulance, I was seeing angels telling me that everything was going to be fine, and it's just like one of the many times that I should have died, and didn't. So it was like, it was part of me that always knew that I had to be here for some grand reason, right? Because I just kept getting saved over and over and over and over again, and 8 times currently, right? And literally have seen time reversed to keep me here. Oh, that's the one she's talking about. Okay. now that I think of it, that's the one. Yeah, speeding with my friend's brand new 69 Mustang, and he's speeding down the street because we're just checking it out, see what, lighting it up, seeing what it'll do, and going down this, like, it was a very straightaway with there was one stop sign, but we just blew it out, and so it's like nothing forever, and then one light at the end. So he's just going and going and going. We're like 90 miles an hour. The one light is starting to come up, so he starts to brake, and then he's like pumping and pumping. And he's like, "Dude, no brakes, no brakes!" Ah, right. And then he's pumping them, and finally, when they locked up, we're sliding towards these other cars, few cars in the intersection. He swerves, just misses this car. Bam! We hit this like little cement island that had a power box for the lights. We slam on the power box, and then boom! Then I hear the metal ripple and the glass break, and now I'm into life review. So it's like I see my life, like all the highlights of when I was born, coming out of the womb and being in mom's chest, and then my first birthday party and this, and then all the key moments like just flash. It's like a movie, all up into that moment. And then it's like, dude, no brakes. I see the accident again. I see the slam and the glass and the everything, and then while the glass is in the air, then it just freezes, and then it goes in reverse, the whole movie again, in reverse, and then comes back, to the womb, back, mom holding me, back to the womb, back to that sound, and then I come to, and my friend and I are sitting out of the intersection over on the side of the road over here, and he's like, my dad's gonna kill me because the car's total, right? We both heard. He's like, did you see glass break and metal rip? Yes. Oh my god, how are we even alive? I don't know. We get out to check out the car. We look, nothing wrong with the car. We look into the intersection, nobody's there, but the hubcap is sitting in the middle of the intersection. So we go to scoop up the hubcap, and we're just looking around because there were people there. And when something happens, like an accident, people show up for you, right? How can I help you? They're like calling an ambulance. They're like taking you somewhere. They're doing something. Nobody there. And we pick up the hubcap, and we look, and there's a big. It was the island was made of that chunky black asphalt that you basically could take a stick and put a dent in it, right? Because it was really soft. Had a scrape mark from the tire that goes right to the box, the big metal box that was to change the light. So it just showed us we did hit that, we did hit that, but now we were alive, nothing wrong with the car. He's just like, whoa, all that time you talked about like God and stuff, and I said, yeah. He said, all that time I thought you were full of right. I don't want the web crawlers to get that one, but I thought you were full of what. And he just like, oh wow, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And so what I realized in telling that on one of the interviews when the book came out was somebody said, oh, you jumped timelines. And I was like, uh-huh, yeah, wow. That would explain nobody being there, right? That would explain a lot. Jump timelines. Wow. So think about that. To them, did we just disappear the other timeline? Did we like hit the box and then just disappear, and they were left with what just happened? All I know is there were people there, and then they weren't, and there was proof that we hit the thing, and the car was fine. And I had a life review, at which when you die you're supposed to see, and then I saw it, and then it reversed, and then I was still here. So even then there was an inkling that maybe there was something greater going on. Right.
Right. It's amazing that you know, we are multi-dimensional beings. You know, we're told that all the time, multi-dimensional beings, but like, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
And that all possibilities exist simultaneously. What does that
Mm.
actually mean? You know, when
Yeah.
you think about, all right, wait a second, multiple timelines, hang on a
Yeah.
second. I jumped
Yeah.
from one timeline of possibilities to a different timeline of possibilities. Wow.
Yeah. And they're so close together. Like that explains deja vu,
Yep.
you know, like, oh God, could swear I was here. You were here just a split second before and you're remembering it, that timeline, right? So it's like once I kind of heard about the timeline thing, I was like, oh, that explains a lot, you know. Like when I was really young, and that was one of the times that I had with Mel, the guy that died 5 days after the wedding. While they were dating, he wanted to take us up on a helicopter ride, and my mom was freaking out. She was so scared, and I was like, "Don't worry, the day goes perfectly. I've already seen it." And I had seen the whole day before, right? And I just knew. And so she's like, no, no. And she was just, well, we'll go, but I'm not going on the helicopter. And then the whole day I kept saying, it's going to be okay, Mom. We're fine. You know, she's like, how do you know that? I go, I've already seen this day. She's like, what? So I said, okay, all right now he's going to say, ooh, a barrel of pickles. Let's get a pickle. And then he'd go, ooh, a barrel of pickles. Let's get a pickle. And I was like, now this is going to happen. Oh, now that person's going to cross and drop their thing. And then they would do it. And so, like, everything I said over and over and over and over, just right before it happened. And it would happen. So my mom was just like, so we're going to be fine. I was like, absolutely. And so she went on the helicopter that day. And we went on the helicopter ride because the hours before, I had hundreds of, I took like so many proofs for me to get. Like, I had already seen the day, so we were going to be fine. So how did that happen? You know, okay, literally know everything about a whole day if there isn't just like multiple timelines going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So as we believe, we perceive.
yeah.
As we believe, all possibilities exist.
Hmm.
So when we believe something, you know, if your mom had continued to believe that this is not going to work out, then she would never have gone on that helicopter ride. But as soon as she
Right.
was able to believe what you were saying,
Yeah,
then she was able to move to that timeline where everything works out just fine. So, you know,
yeah,
same thing for me with this place. If I had believed that, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible, I might be out on the street, I don't have a place to live, I would have gone to that timeline.
yeah,
But it's like we all have so much power, and it's the power of choice, the power of being clear about what we desire, not
mm,
about what we want, Karen, right? But what we desire. What do we truly desire to experience? And we have to tell the universe, because universal law says, and so it is.
yeah,
Universal law, the law of one, that we are all one. All
yeah,
that is there's one, all that is, and we are
yeah,
each part of that.
yeah.
So
So
we
I'll leave
get to
it.
choose.
Yeah, so I'll leave everyone with the challenge. I had to do this for a whole day, but I'll just say for an hour, for 1 hour of the day, just keep a journal with you, and everything that you like say and think while you're thinking to do this, write it down. So just for an hour, not a whole day like I had to do. An hour. Just everything that you say, everything that you think, write it down. And then over the next week, month, go back to that list and start crossing off everything that you said that came true, that happened. Start crossing them off. See how long it takes until everything that you thought and everything that you said is crossed off on that list.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, powerful.
Yep. And I also kind of look around my life and look at, what do I believe? You know, like, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, and so it is. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm ugly. Oh, and so it
So it
is.
is. Yeah.
Oh, I live a beautiful life. I do. So it is. Like,
Mm.
look
How do you want
around.
it to be? How do you want it to be?
Right.
We wrapped it back around to where we started. How do you want it to be? So it is. Those are two powerful statements. Change your life. Yes.
Franny, another dream weaver. Thank you for this inspirational Sunday morning conversation. Lori says, this has been a great experience this morning. I appreciate you. Well, we appreciate everybody who comes and listens to us live or on
Yeah.
replay. If you're listening to us on the replay, let us know. If you're listening to this on YouTube, remember to subscribe to my channel and then share this with others who might be inspired by this conversation as well. It's time for us to start creating heaven on earth. It's time for us to start remembering that we are the soul and we are the solution. When we start focusing on what it is we desire, we can literally together create heaven on earth. It's up to us to do it. It's not going to fall out of the sky on our heads. We have to create it by choosing it. Keith, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being our monthly guest. It is so great to be able to have these conversations every month so that we can share this wisdom and inspire people. And just thank you for all the ways that you inspire me on the daily. Thank you for making my life better.
You're welcome. And ditto. So it is.
So it is. Everyone, thank you so much. So, and if you're looking to get in touch with Keith, and his book is called Walking with My Angels. It's available on his website, Keith, just
Amazon.
Google Keith Leon S. and you will find Keith. I will put a link in the chat. Please, he has many inspirational books out, music, angel cards, which are phenomenal. So check it out. He's got all kinds of ways to inspire you on the daily. All right. Thank you all so much. Until next week, create for yourselves a heavenly week. Bye for now.
Bye.